Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Sports Analyst Podcast. I'm Jared. That's Jessa. Jessa, how we doing this fine Wednesday?
We're doing good. Made it through another 2 days without football. Can't wait for action to start. Holla.
Yup. Oh my gosh. The worst feeling in the world is opening up the CBS Sports app and seeing this.
Amen. Although
Cleared the
I do
field.
have, I do have WNBA on there, and I do have golf on there, but
Okay.
neither of those. I think WNBA is happening right now, and that actually, hold on, that leads us into my hot
That's
take.
perfect segue.
That's perfect. Thank you for bringing up CBS Sports so we can bring this up. All right. If you haven't seen the news about the WNBA and what Fee Collier is saying, she basically, the Minnesota Lynx got knocked out of the playoffs, and in her press conference, she got up to the stand and said, "Before I take any questions," by the way, she's injured, not playing. Before I take any questions, let me read this statement. And in this statement, she recounts, it's basically calling out WNBA leadership, right? And in the statement, this is the quote I sent out to sports analysts. She talks about a conversation she had with Kathy something or other, don't even know her last name, the commissioner of the WNBA, where Kathy essentially tells her, well, Caitlin Clark should be grateful that she makes anything off the court, 16 million. Thank her lucky stars. Get down on her knees and thank her lucky stars that she makes anything, because without the WNBA, she wouldn't make anything. Yeah.
I don't know about that one, Jim.
Yeah, I think that perfectly encapsulates how out of touch the WNBA. Caitlin Clark made $3.1 million before she ever stepped on that WNBA court, and the only reason that she was capped at that much was because she was in college. This is the only reason. So regardless of wherever she went. So that's the fact. I'm not going to spend so much more time on this because everybody and their dog knows, who watches the WNBA, knows that league is a joke. Like, I can say that as a female basketball player. As a female high school basketball player, I thought it was a joke. I didn't watch it for reasons that I will get canceled if I am really honest about it. But when Caitlin Clark got into the league with millions of others, I started watching it. Why? Because she's likable, she's relatable, and she's freaking good at basketball.
Amazing.
Right? Amazing at basketball. She's fun to watch. Point blank, period. Yep. She's the WNBA's Michael Jordan. Everybody knows it, and everybody will admit it except for the WNBA. And so, thank you to Fee Collier, who got injured because the refs suck in the league, because it's an unserious league, for calling it out, because it needs to be said. And if you ever want to be taken serious as a league, you got to do what the NBA did with Michael Jordan and say, this is our bell cow. Everybody loves watching this guy. We're gonna ride the back of this player.
Right.
It's an entertainment business. So, thank you.
It is mind-boggling to me that they are this. Is prideful the right word? Like, egotistical? Like,
yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. She's literally like the greatest female basketball player that I have ever heard and
of all time.
I've ever seen. And like, granted, I don't know that many female basketball players, but she is like the most electric basketball player, period, since like Jimmer and Steph Curry. Like, I would say she's more fun to watch than anybody in the NBA right now. And the fact that they're just dunking on her and like saying she's lucky, like, yeah, absolutely just I cannot comprehend it.
Yeah, and so now that the players, because I think there was a block there because the players were a little bit like, you had Sue Bird and some of these old heads coming out like, she's not going to be able to adjust to the WNBA. Yeah. Yes, right? And so it kind of felt like the players were against her as well. Well, now you hear most of the players backing this statement. And so most of the players are like on Caitlin Clark's side as well. There's some fire because she said no comment. But honestly, she doesn't need to comment. She's not the problem here.
No,
she's not the problem. So that's my hot take of the day.
I love it.
We can get into BYU football, but thank you. I feel better for having got that off my chest.
That's what we're here for. If any of you listeners ever have a hot take you need to get off your chest, you can send us a video. We'll play it on here. We'll freaking have you on for 5 minutes to talk about your hot take. Yes, just let us know. We are very hot take safe on this podcast. Safe space. We don't have any hot takes from the listeners, but we do have a couple of questions from the YouTube chat. There were a lot of them. We don't need to go super in depth, but I do want to answer these. These are again from round D on the YouTube chat. First question, Jess, you take this one. He's talking about the Colorado game, and he says, first half, what's up with our kick returner not letting the ball go? I had this question as well. I will say that.
Yeah, and I don't know that we know. At the very basis of it, bad play, stupid play. You notice he didn't return a kick after that. It was bad enough that the coach said, all right, you don't have it today. You're going to sit down and you're just not going to play anymore.
Pat on the head.
If I'm being kind and like assuming the best, I think he was tracking the ball and lost track of where he was. And then he was like on the goal line. So he didn't call for a fair catch and he wasn't sure if he was in. And so if he went backwards, it might be a safety. And so he just decided to go forward in a panic. And I think the root cause is he just lost where he was on the field and caught the ball and then made a stupid play. So
regardless, probably not safe for you to return kicks anymore. So
we're back to the worm.
We're back to the worm. Okay, here's this next one. What is the reason for Kalani to call the timeout when the half is over? This one, they actually explain in depth on Coordinator's Corner. So if you haven't listened to that, highly, highly recommend. You can find it on the BYU TV app. You can find it anywhere you get your podcast. Just look up Coordinator's Corner. Jay Hill was talking about this. Now, the point is you call timeout with 3 seconds, 1 second, whatever it was. And it's 4th down and 4 or whatever. And you force them to run a play, which is either punt, where you can either go for a block or set up a return, or you force them to do what they did, which is throw the ball out of bounds, right? And technically that should have been intentional grounding, right?
By rule.
Which should be an untimed down for the offense. We were in field goal range. It would have been like a free 3 points. Now, nobody really understands. On Coordinator's Corner, they go into this about how there's a gray area in the rule book, and the refs just decided that it wasn't going to be an untimed down. So I don't really know what the right answer is there. But the idea was to either go for a block on the punt or return on the punt, or force them to do exactly what they did and get the ball back and kick a field goal. And it worked. It just, the refs decided not to make it work. So that would be the reason for that.
I like the gamesmanship there. I'm glad we did that. And that was a good explanation of why.
Yep. Here's our last one. What makes a good crowd of fans? I saw a lot of stuff about Taco Bell's student section, and I have no idea how you quantify a good student section. Now, Jess, I want to get your take on this as well, but I am very passionate about student sections, and I was always in the BYU student section when I was a student there, and I was very upset because I didn't think our student section was very good. I didn't think we were very engaged or educated. Nobody knew when to cheer, how to cheer. Everyone was just there for a social event. And then I moved to Georgia and realized that it's even worse at a lot of these other places. BYU actually has a fantastic student section. I would say Penn State probably has the best student section. 1, because they're so big. 2, because they're so engaged. They show up, they do the chants, they wear the right colors, they yell when they're supposed to. And 3, the placement of the student section is perfect. They wrap that entire end zone. Like in that first overtime, I can't remember who won the coin toss or whatever, but if I was James Franklin, I'd be like, I don't care if we're playing offense or defense first. I want to play on that side.
That way.
Because they are so loud in that side. And I think that's what makes a good student section is you have to be engaged. You have to be there to affect the game. And BYU fans do affect the game. Whereas you never hear people talk about the Auburn student section or the Alabama student section or the Georgia student section because they're just there it's a social event for 99% of them. Whereas it is a social event for probably 60% of the BYU fans or the BYU students. But that's a far less percentage. There's a far greater percentage that are actually engaged. And so when the students know when to get loud, you're loud when your team is on defense, you're loud when the team is in the huddle, not just lining up to snap the ball. You need to be loud all of those times, especially on 3rd down, especially when they're backed up in their end zone, especially when they're in the red zone. And I think BYU does that really, really well. Plus, BYU has a massive student section. We take up 3 whole sections of the stadium, which is actually pretty cool. Even though BYU shunts them to a corner, it's pretty cool that the fans still show up and fill out that part of the stadium, and they bring that energy to the crowd that the rest of the crowd and the players feed off of.
Yeah. Very well said, Jared. You know your student sections, my man.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
yeah, in my mind, I've only sat in the Rock a couple times, but just to reiterate what you said, if they add to the competitive advantage of the team on the field, then it's a good student section.
Hmm.
Um, if you wouldn't know if they were there or not, then they're probably not a good student section. If they just blend
Right.
in with the crowd, then probably not. But from a viewer standpoint, the Rock has forced how many false starts, right?
Oh,
Alone on its own. And it
right.
feeds not only the players, but it feeds the rest of the stadium.
Yep.
So that's what I would say. And then the school showing investment in the student section does a lot for it as well.
Yep. And in basketball, it's the same, right?
Yeah.
Like Michigan State student section is one of my favorite because it's just the entire lower bowl. Like
Yeah.
the entire lower bowl on both the baselines and the sideline is just students. Like they're right there, and they cause mistakes, mental mistakes, and part of it too that goes overlooked is it raises the blood pressure of the opposing players, right? Because they feel that intensity, that hostile environment. Maybe they don't feel threatened per se, but it raises their blood pressure. And if you've ever played sports, you know that if your blood pressure goes up, like especially in basketball, like your whole shooting motion, your whole like mechanics of your body is completely changed when your blood pressure spikes and your heart's beating faster. And
Yep.
it's the same on the football field. You're a little more antsy. You're gonna jump at the snap a little bit more. Yeah, I could go on and on, but basically just go look at the tape from BYU versus Arizona State in 2021.
Oh,
That'll tell you
yeah.
everything you need to know about a student
Agreed.
section.
Agreed. Some
That
teach tape there for
there
sure.
was a whole like 5 minutes where I was just seeing spots because of how loud it was and how much we were screaming. So
Yeah, so great. And you know what? That's a good segment into. Is that our last question?
it
Yes.
is.
Okay, then we can get into the fact that BYU's coming back home after a two-game road trip. First of all, shout out to the Cougs going 2-0 on a road trip. Thumbs up. Good job. You
Yep, we'll
know, a
take
win
it.
is a win. We learned a lot for sure, and we weren't perfect, but we did enough to win on the road and that early in the season, with as many questions as we had. So I hope, and to come home and have the opponent like West Virginia, I think we're primed, and I hope we're primed. If we do our job well, we're primed for a really fun night on Friday. But we'll
Yes.
see.
Um, Again, the tailgate is going to be, we're basically going to be there from like 3 o'clock on. So as soon as you're in town, as soon as you get off work, come on over to behind the Baskin Robbins and tailgate lot, hang out. We'll have two TVs. We'll have an Xbox with College Football 26. We'll have the early games up on another TV. We'll have tons of food. We may even have a couch. So it's going to be very fun.
Ooh.
Anyway, about the game, BYU's favored by almost 19 points. Over under 47.5, so like a BYU win 34-14. Jessa, what's the lowdown on West Virginia? Give us a rundown here.
West Virginia is really bad, guys. Real bad. They are. Let's see. Let me pull it up so I don't get it wrong. Right here, their record. They are 2-3. Their two wins came from Robert Morris, who's an FCS team. They put up 45 against them, and then they beat Pitt, which the longer the season goes on, is just the weirdest win. But goes to show that in rivalry games, anything can happen. They
Right.
lost to Ohio. They put up 10 points against Ohio in a loss. They put up 10 points against Kansas in a loss. And then they put up 14 against Utah in a loss. They're not a good football team.
No.
So in their three losses, 10, 10, 14, and then they're averaging like 35 points given up against them. So I like the spread on paper. And that's our rundown of West Virginia. The last thing I'll say is they will be playing a new quarterback because two of their
Okay.
top couple quarterbacks are out. So we'll be seeing a backup quarterback, which poses its benefits and challenges, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting, I guess. They're
We've
not
never been.
exactly
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say they're only averaging 179 passing yards per game, so it's not like they're throwing the ball very effectively at all with any of their quarterbacks. So I don't know. I mean, you could look at it as like the BYU, the classic BYU. We're gonna make this backup look like a Heisman contender, or you could look at it as they haven't done anything with any of their quarterbacks. Why would this guy be any different?
Yeah, exactly. Two schools of thought. I was gonna say, we've never been burned by a backup quarterback before, so it bodes well for us. No, we're really good at like giving these guys platforms. Cough, cough, Josh Hoover. Um, yeah, the other thing I'll say, I mean, let's talk about what scares us about West Virginia. Like, I know they're not a good football team, but as with any battered fan, there's going to be things that scare us. The first thing for me is they have nothing to lose.
It's true.
So teams like this are just scrapping and clawing for anything positive. And so they're going to come out, if Rich Rod has the boys, like, still has that locker room, they're going to come out with everything they have with nothing
Hmm.
to lose. So that's the first thing that scares me.
Yep. No, I would agree with that, and I think that's kind of it plays into mine that they're a team that we should easily beat, and I think if they come out with that fire, with that like, hey, we got nothing to lose, like we're just playing for our jobs, we're playing for next year, we're playing to show coach that we want to be on this roster and whatever. We could be the opposite of coming in, hey, we're 4-0, like we're feeling good, we're at home, it's Friday night before conference, like we should win, this should be an easy game. We are just I have not seen that we are what's the word? Invincible or like invulnerable to losing to teams that are worse than us. I thought we were past that, and then we went out and lost to Kansas last year in the stinkiest stinker that ever stank. And this could be another one of those games. We should beat the crap out of this team, and so that in and of itself scares me. It's not necessarily West Virginia though related. It's more just the fact that we should beat them. That scares me.
Yeah, luckily the the coaches are saying like, "Hey, we're not going to have any easy games in the Big 12." We've seen that. That's just talk though. I think like you said, you kind of have to prove that you're past that, that you can beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and you can compete with teams you're not supposed to beat and beat them too. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. The other thing, it's not necessarily about West Virginia, but I heard somewhere that the forecast is windy and rainy.
Oh,
And West Virginia has a pretty porous pass defense. In their last two games against Kansas and Utah, they've allowed 8 pass touchdowns. 5 against Utah, 3 against Kansas.
dang.
So I would like to pass the ball, but if it's windy and rainy, obviously that's going to have an effect on your pass game.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. But we've got to prove that we can also run when the other team
Sure.
knows we're going to run. And against West Virginia, their roster is not talented.
Right.
Okay, so we've got to be able to do
So,
that.
what is the minimum threshold for success then? Or I guess we have these two topics: threshold for success. What do you want to see? It's all the same, really. What is like a bar that you're setting that we need to hit this game?
So the last two games I've said just win and get out, right?
Yeah.
This is a game, we're at home, we're 4-0, 3-score win is my bare
Okay.
minimum. That's my
Okay.
bare minimum. That's not like necessarily what I expect to happen, but 17 points feels good to me,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
17 points. Yeah.
I like
What
that. I like that.
yeah, what's your bar of success?
Very similar. Like ideally, the bar is 48-14. We need to
For
beat
no
what
reason
Utah
at
did.
all. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, true, true. Just abstract, just pulling that out of my butt. Um, I'm not that confident that our offense can score 50 points, so I'm just going to say let's hold them to 10 or less, right? Like ideally single digits, but I'll allow 10. And then I want to score 30 plus. Like I want 5 touchdowns. So that's
Love it.
that's kind of like the world that I'm living in, which would again be 3 scores. So that's kind of what I want. But I also want a couple of other things. I want multiple turnovers forced without any giving up. I want 250 yards passing from Bear. He hasn't done that yet. And I want 100 yards from LJ again. I want LJ to have 1,000 yards this year. And this is one of those teams that I think he can rack up some yards against, especially if we get up quick. And then last thing, I don't want any like stupid "what in the hell are you doing" plays like returning a ball at your own 1 yard line and going backwards.
Yeah.
Just play smart football. Let's not do any stupid shiz, okay? Please.
I don't want Parker Kingston to throw a pass in this game. He's 0 for
Yeah,
3.
please.
Stop it. Stop with the silly stuff that we throw interceptions on. Like, no running back passes. Nothing. I'm with you. A disciplined, clean game. I want our starters to be done in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
And I want no, it's similar to what you said, single digits. I don't want any garbage, any non-garbage time touchdowns.
Yes.
Like we could give
I like
up,
that.
we could give up, like our second stringers could get scored on, right? Like
Yeah.
that's fine with me if we're up 30 points or whatever.
Yeah.
But in the first three quarters, absolutely not. This team should not score on us.
Yep.
Oh, we're talking ourselves up here. Oh no!
I
What's
will
gonna
say, I will
happen?
say, from what I've seen, the only way that BYU loses this game is if we turn the ball over early and get down again like we did versus Colorado. West Virginia is averaging like over 200 rush yards per game. Even in their losses, they're still running the ball effectively. It's just they're down, and so when you can't like when all you can do is run the ball and you get down, like you're kind of just game scripted out. So with BYU, if you get down again, it's going to be harder to fight back than it was against Colorado because West Virginia is going to be focusing so much on controlling the ball and controlling the clock. So as long as BYU doesn't come out flat and give up two early touchdowns and go down 14-0, I think even if it's 7-7 or like 10-7, like I think BYU should feel very comfortable after the first quarter or so. We just can't have another stinker of a first quarter again.
That's the other thing I want to see. I want to see an opening drive touchdown. We haven't had one yet. I
That
want to
is
see an.
crazy that we haven't had one.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Opening, and I mean, we do have a freshman quarterback. We're figuring things out. For you make all the excuses you want. We need an opening drive touchdown. We should not
Right?
be ranked and not have an opening drive touchdown.
That's
So
crazy, especially with our
yeah,
schedule.
yeah, exactly. And we'll figure it out. But maybe that'll be part of the bet this week. Hmm. I think that's a really good stage to set, kind of, for what our expectations are. And the last thing I'll say is I want to win. That's it.
Yep.
If we're really gonna talk about it, just win. Thanks.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's all we need, really.
We just
As
need to
fans,
win.
we get greedy. We want more, but we don't need it.
Yes. Yes. Okay, I think that's a good kind of preview for what we're looking for.
Yep.
Anything else you would add before we move on to the rest of the week of college football?
No, I do like that it's on a Friday.
Same.
It gives you all Saturday to just kind of relax, chill, and you don't have to like stress about, oh, we got our game tonight. Like, like during the last week, it was like all these amazing games and it was great. But in the pit of my stomach, I was like, oh, BYU's playing Colorado tonight. Like, this could be the worst weekend ever if we go on the road and lose to like Dion can't hold my pee and Sanders. So it's going to be nice to have this game out of the way. Hopefully a dub, should be a dub. And then we get to watch a bunch of other great games this weekend as well. Starting with Thursday and Friday before the BYU game, we have Western Kentucky at Delaware. Delaware is favored. Delaware is brand new to the FBS, and they are favored over a team that they almost won the CUSA last year. They were in the
Yeah.
championship game, right? So this is crazy that Delaware is kind of making a push like this. Obviously, Western Kentucky is also down a little bit
Yep.
after BYU superstar Cody Epps retired medically from football this summer.
Yep.
But then we also have Sam Houston at Mexico State on Thursday, which if Puka Nakua and Fred Warner weren't playing in Thursday Night Football, this would be definitely first screen because this is a very even matchup.
Yeah, I like that shout out for Thursday Night Football. That's gonna be a fun one. Rams versus Niners. Yeah, Delaware. I mean, they beat UConn, they beat FIU, they beat Delaware State. Um, like you said, brand new to FBS, so that'll be the game to watch on. That's on Friday, right?
Yep, Friday at
Yeah.
5. We'll be watching it at the tailgate. Come hang out. Don't worry, it's not Michigan. Their helmets are just as ugly, but it's not Michigan. So
I
we
would
know.
argue they are a little bit prettier because I really like their blue better.
The blue, their jerseys
100%.
are 100% nicer as well.
Yeah,
They're
one.
much, much prettier jerseys.
Yes.
Okay, the 10 a.m. slate. 10 a.m. because I am here in Utah now. This isn't noon football. Thank
True.
goodness.
Yeah.
East Coast is the worst. Iowa State at Cincinnati.
This
You
is
have
an
written in here,
interesting game.
is this the only good game in the morning window?
Looks like it. Well, hold on. I mean, last week, the contrast, you never call it before it happens, right? We never call a college football weekend
1000%.
before it happens. But the slate of games we had to talk about that we could guess were going to be pretty good last week versus what we're looking at this week, Iowa State and Cincinnati are the only game that like hits that standard for me right now. But
Yeah.
I could just tell you that we're going to have more. Cincinnati actually looks pretty good. I know they lost to Nebraska. Okay. They kept that game tight and threw a stupid interception at the end of the game. Very first game of the season, right?
Yep.
I think Cincinnati looks pretty good. I could see this being a competitive game. Iowa State travels to Cincinnati, so it's definitely one to tune in to. Also, Big 12. Fun football. Fun football in the Big
I
12.
mean, if you didn't watch the Cincinnati-Kansas game, Cincinnati is the epitome of fun football. Like you said with the Nebraska game, one play away, then they go beat Kansas at Kansas by 3. Like, this is just the roll the dice team. Like, this is a fun team.
Yeah.
I will say we do have Service Academy action at noon as well, or at 10 a.m. Now, this is Air Force Navy, okay? You may be used to Service Academies scoring very low number of points against each other. I've watched like 3 Air Force football games, and let me tell you, none of them have hit the under. They have all hit the over. Air Force's defense is poopy stinky stinks. And Air Force's offense is putting up like 45 a game. So this is going to be a fun one. I can promise you that. Navy is favored by like 12 points or whatever, but this could be like a 52-40 game, okay? The Service Academy football is fun football, and you'll know that if you watch.
Yeah. Yeah, let's watch that one too. I mean, yeah, give me all the games. Give me all the games to
All the
watch.
games.
And then we'll tune into one that suddenly becomes close in the fourth quarter, right? But
Yep.
I think that's a good preview of what the morning slate has to offer. The afternoon slate is kind of stacked.
It is.
It is very stacked. We've got 5 games on the list, starting with Vanderbilt at Alabama. Diego Pavia goes to Alabama, who's coming off that hot win against Georgia.
Yep.
And Vandy is undefeated, if I'm not mistaken, and ranked. So
Yes,
it's
5-0.
top 20 versus a top 20. College game day will be there, and
Yeah.
I will be rooting as hard as humanly possible for Vanderbilt. How awesome would it be if Vanderbilt beat Alabama 2 years in a row?
Please. This is the exact same weekend as well that Vanderbilt played Alabama, the first weekend in October. So we are 1 year almost exactly away from this exact same happenstance last year. That would be awesome if Vanderbilt can pull it off. It would also be awesome if Boise State can beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame, they are just clinging on with like the last little like butt cheek hair to their playoff hopes. I hate Boise State with a passion. Boise is not a state. But I will be rooting so hard for Boise State in this game. Do I have a lot of faith in them? Honestly, no. They were basically just Ashton Genty, and without him, they are nothing. But it would be hilarious if they walk in there and NIU Notre Dame. That would be awesome.
That'd be awesome. And then Notre Dame is dead in the water. Which,
Yep.
we've talked about this before. It infuriates me that it takes 3 wins to put them, 3 losses to put them dead in the water. Like they're
So stupid.
So, please, Boise State, for all of college football, expose these frauds for a 3rd time, because that's what they did. Yeah, I'll be tuned in on that one. Okay, this is a sleeper game. Virginia goes to Louisville. Louisville is a good team. They're flying under the radar. Well, I think they're a good team. They have acted like a good team to this point in the season.
Good.
And then
Good catch.
yeah. We don't know anything in college football. And then Virginia just knocked off Florida State in that banger of a game last weekend. So I'm really looking forward to this game. My algorithm has it as like a 1 or 2 point game because these teams are very similar as far as power rankings and production goes.
Yep.
So I'll be watching this game in the afternoon window.
Yeah, there's a lot of games this weekend for like college football sickos, as we are called, right? That don't have any real impact on like the national perspective or like I guarantee you 0% of AP voters and 0% of CFP top 25 voters or whoever's on the freaking committee like Bumbaloo Jambas, none of them will be watching this game. And this is probably going to be one of the best games of the day. Like, if you love college football, this is like your game. It isn't going to be freaking Georgia Auburn or whatever the hell is on the SEC network. Like, or on ESPN at 1:30. Like these are the kinds of games that are fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Another such game, two more such games. Michigan State at Nebraska. How bad is Nebraska? Is Nebraska really just one field goal away from beating Michigan and being like back? Or is Michigan State that team? Like I don't know. This is kind of a make or break game, it feels like, for Matt Rule. And then you also have Washington at Maryland. Washington just got absolutely suffocated by Ohio State over the weekend. And Maryland, low-key sneaky. Like, this could be one of the fifth best team in the Big Ten this year, maybe? I don't know. Like, Maryland-Washington is a sneaky, really fun matchup as well.
Yeah, both of those teams are playing for something big, right?
Yep.
Same with Michigan and Nebraska. Like, if you want to have a special season, all four of those teams have to win this game. Like, this is a must-win. You've got to win the winnable games on your schedule, and these are winnable games for all four of those teams.
Right. Which is football. That's why we watch college football, is for games like this, because the kids care. It's not just a bunch of guys playing for money. These kids care. All right. Let's get into the evening slate. Interesting evening slate. The first game on here is a very interesting one, which I'm very glad you put on here, because this one is like eyeballs emoji, like, let's see how real this team is. Texas Tech at Houston. Now, you may look at this and laugh, okay? We might be laughing by the end, and Texas Tech wins 48-10. Houston may also be laughing. Houston might be good. They might be good, guys. We don't know. This is a tell-it-all game for Texas Tech and Houston. Texas Tech walked into Utah, beat up on a crappy Utah team, one of the worst Utah teams to ever be in the state of Utah. And Houston, they put away Colorado very easily. This could be an interesting game here. This could be upset alert.
It could be. The Texas Tech quarterback battle is something to keep an eye on. Baron Morton, the starter, is supposedly back after the bye week. If you remember, he got injured at the Utah game, and then Will Hammond, the backup, came in and absolutely lit it up. Like,
balled out.
Utah away, right? And they're saying that Baron Morton is going to get the start this weekend. Could we see him, if it's not going well against an undefeated Houston team, could we see them go back to Will Hammond, who leads the country in PFF grade, by the way? It's one game, but still. Something to keep an eye on this game. Undefeated versus undefeated. Again, Big 12. Fun football.
Right?
This game, kind of makes... This is one of those games where I'm like, can both teams lose? Miami goes to Florida State in a battle of the Floridas. I don't think Miami has left the state of Florida yet. Legitimately, I don't think they have.
No,
I don't think they do until week 6 or 7. 7 or 8. I really don't have much to say about this game, other than I hope both of them look bad. I don't know. Maybe Miami wins, and so Florida State's beating Alabama looks less impressive? I don't know.
Or do we want Florida State to win, because Florida State is dead now that they lost to Virginia, who is obviously a very bad team because their name is Virginia.
Obviously.
And then that discredits Notre Dame's good loss to Miami.
True. Do we think that the committee has that much common sense in their brains? No.
No.
But I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. You can make arguments. They're going to fold this game into whatever serves their cause.
Yep.
That's how I feel about this game. So
exactly. I will say, I played this game out on EA College Football 26 the other day. I was Florida State, and I came back to win 21-20. So it should be exciting. If the video game to real life, that the correlation that I very much believe in. If I was a betting man, I would bet based on how I play in college football. This should be a fun game.
Bias aside, these are two of the best offenses in college football right now. So,
and they are two of the most fun to watch offenses as well.
Yes. So it will be a fun game to watch.
Yeah.
Admittedly, This next one, I have an affinity for Mississippi State. Maybe it's because of Mike Leach, right? Or maybe I don't know why these little SEC teams, and Mississippi State is not getting the attention that they would if they had a different logo. Like, they took Tennessee 100%. Down to the wire, right? They beat
If this is Alabama, they'd be top 10.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they go to Texas A&M, who is by the numbers one of the most overrated teams in all of college football, right?
Yep.
Meaning they're
No
ranked too high
chance
in
they're number
overall.
6.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
chance.
So I have an emotional investment in this game. Like I want Mississippi State to go out and get that win after a tough loss at Tennessee or
Hmm.
against
I
Tennessee.
I will also be rooting for Mississippi State. They will, if they beat Texas A&M, guaranteed they go from unranked to like number 11.
Yeah,
With this win, just because of the conference patch.
yeah, and Texas A&M moves to like 11 and a half. You know?
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
just right there, right there. In fact, they'd probably stay above them,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah,
Battle of like the super Colts. Also, you have like the Cowboys versus the imposter like military fake. Basically, actually, never mind. I'm not gonna make that joke. But horrible uniform matchup as well, right? You have
yeah.
like ugly tan purple brown versus ugly purple brown tan. Like, should be gross. Yeah, I will follow this one. I don't know if I'll watch it. I don't like to watch games on the SEC network because I don't like to give them the viewership. But if Mississippi State's making a game of it late, I will be tuning in.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And you've got other games. I mean, Texas Tech and Houston is going to have my full attention for that
Yep.
window. Uh, and then we've got Duke versus Cal in the late window, right? Tell me about this
This,
game.
this is 100% sickos galore. Okay? This is a disgusting game. Like, the national media would literally vomit. They would projectile vomit if you played this game in front of them. They wouldn't even know this was an FBS game. I guarantee it. Okay? Duke and Cal, battle of like the stuck up the I don't even know what to say, like prep boys, private school, smart nerds that think they're better than everybody.
Yep.
This is going to be in the late slate. It's basically Pac-12 after dark. Both offenses are complete dice rolls, and they love to play close games that they have no business like losing or winning. So it'll be a fun nightcap if you are an absolute disgusting sicko for college football like we are.
Yeah, if you haven't gotten your fix already, turn this game on. Cal's quarterback is also a true freshman. Like he and Bear have been talked about as like the true freshmen who are starting for their programs,
Hmm.
right? His name is Jaron Kiowe Sagapolutele. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah! Woohoo! JKS is what I'm gonna call him now.
Yeah.
He's a roller coaster as well. So if he's on, this will be a fun game.
Yep.
But if he's off, then Duke will win by 90.
Yep.
So
We are out of time, but that was a great episode. Great preview for the weekend. Also, there's conference, which we're probably obliged to mention. Um, but
yes.
but that's why you have multiple TVs. You put the sound on one, and you have the other ones on football.
Yes. And I
So
will
that's
say I wanted to give a shout